How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm here.
Yay. So Todd, I'm gonna assume that Angelo is not coming, is not making it.
It sounded like that from his last email.
Right.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the West Hartford Zoning Board of Appeals to order. I am Todd Doyle, the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I'd like to welcome you to tonight's virtual meeting. For the record, I'd like to note that the required meeting agenda and application materials all are available on the town website. Because in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this hearing is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's executive orders regarding the conduct of public meetings. Will the zoning enforcement officer please call the roll?
Michael D'Amato,
Here.
Todd Doyle,
Here.
Angelo Di Matteo, Michael Johnson, John Harris.
Here.
And Bob LaChance.
Here.
So we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Birmingham. So this is Todd Doyle, chair again. For the record, I'd like to note that we have a full quorum of the board. Board members and town staff are participating via WebEx. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television or on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 96 and Frontier TV Channel 6099. Or at whctv.org. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing, which will be available on the town website. Because of the virtual format of this meeting, there are some special rules and procedures I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute your microphones on your devices when you are not speaking. Second, pursuant to executive order, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. So when you take the microphone, just say your name. Please, the first time you speak, spell your last name if you would, please, and just say homeowner or speaking on behalf of homeowner. I'll ask members of the board and staff not to address other participants directly. Comments and requests for information must be made, quote, through the chair. After you state your name, simply preface your question or comment with through the chair. And when you're done, I will recognize the person most appropriate to respond. With that, will the zoning enforcement officer please proceed with the first matter on our agenda?
The Town of West Hartford Zoning Board of Appeals will hold its regular meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. The public hearing will be conducted exclusively as a virtual public hearing in accordance with Governor Lamont's executive orders regarding the conduct of public meetings and proceedings, and will convene at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard on the following. Petition number 0521, 90 Park Road. Petition of Y. Okturtor requesting a special exception renewal approval in order to maintain a customary home occupation for a tailoring business as an accessory to the residence per section 177-49 for a period of 5 years per plan on file, BG zone. At this hearing, interested persons may be heard or submit written comment as outlined below. The full application is available for public review by visiting the town's website and following this navigation path. Government tab, boards and commissions, Zoning Board of Appeals, next meeting and agenda at www.westhhartfordct.gov/government-services/boards commissions/zoning board of appeals, or by email request to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov. The public hearing will be broadcast live on television on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 96 and Frontier TV Channel 6099 and streamed live at whctv.org. Any interested persons may participate in real time by calling 1-408-418-9388 and using the following access code 173-951-6050 at 6:00 p.m. Participants using caller ID blocking will not be permitted to participate. Participants will be called on in the order in which their call was received. When prompted by the chair and/or moderator, participants will have the permission to speak on matters germane to the hearing. Any interested persons may submit a written comment via email to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov or via mail attention at Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning and Zoning Office, Room 214, Town Hall, 50 South Main Street, West Hartford, Connecticut, 06107. Written comments will be made part of the record at the May 19th public hearing and posted on the town's website. In order to be included as part of the record, comments must meet the following requirements. Comments must be received no later than 3:30 p.m. on May 19th. The subject of the email should be application number and address, ZBA May 19th public hearing. The body of the email must begin with the interested person's full name and street address. Comments must be germane to the application and no longer than 500 words. The legal notice was posted on 5/5/2021. Todd Doyle, Zoning Board of Appeals, and Brittany Birmingham, Secretary to the Board.
Thank you, Brittany. And does the record note compliance with the sign posting?
Yes, signs have been
requirements?
posted for this application.
Thank you. And the public was provided an opportunity, as Ms. Birmingham mentioned, to submit written comments on the application via mail and email. The comments have been published on the town's website as a PDF file and are embedded in this online agenda. For the record, the zoning enforcement officer will now read the names of all those who submitted written comments.
We have no submitted comments.
Thank you. Members of the public are welcome to continue sending comments to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov, and those comments will be distributed to the members of the board and also read into the record. Following the testimony of the applicant, the public who may have called into the meeting will have a chance to comment about the current application. Upon conclusion of the applicant's response to these comments, and if there are no further questions from the board, the public hearing will be closed. It is the practice of the board to render a decision on an application the same night, following all items on the public meeting agenda. I'd like to conclude by thanking everyone in advance for their patience. And with that, will the applicant please proceed with their presentation? You may need to mute yourself, ma'am, or unmute yourself.
Yeah, am I unmuted? Okay, all right, thank you. I'm Ann Rapkin, and I'm an attorney representing Yusuf Okturtor in this application for a special exception. He would like to continue carrying on his tailoring business in one room of his apartment at 90 Park Road. The application includes the signed permission of Michael Reiner for the owning corporation. This is the same business that he carried on for quite a number of years. I think that his first special exception was issued in 2012, and nothing has changed. He has no employees. He conducts tailoring, primarily alterations and repairs of clothing. He takes customers only by appointment, and he does not have more than one customer in his apartment at one time. There is one extra parking place available in the parking lot that's behind this building that serves the people who live there, and that is the parking space that customers in the past have used. As far as I know, there have never been any complaints about his business. He will have a 12-inch by 12-inch sign. When it comes back from the printer, we will send we will email a copy to Ms. Birmingham for her, I assume, to share with you all. It says fine tailoring and alterations, and has a graphic of a sewing machine and an iron. And a scissors. Yes. Mr. Okturtor is reminding me that there's a scissors on it. He's expecting no more than 4 to 5 customers per day. Is there anything else that I can provide you some information on?
So, Ms. Rapkin, thank you. This is Todd Doyle again. You've mentioned that the applicant has operated this business for a number of years. Are there any changes to hours or days of operation?
No. Yeah, it would be the same, Monday through Saturday.
Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Birmingham, are there any letters in the file regarding this location or this business?
No, you mean letters of complaints?
Complaints or any other concerns?
Nope,
No.
we have nothing on file.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else on the board have questions for Ms. Rapkin? Hearing none, I thank you for your presentation. I think that's all we need. You're welcome to stay until the board decides makes a decision on the application tonight, or you can call the office tomorrow or wait for the decision in the mail.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Birmingham, would you be so kind as to read the second matter for the agenda? Oh, you're on mute, Brittany.
There I am. Petition number 0621, 51 Fairlee Road, petition of D Slab, record owner, requesting a variance to section 177-20D4, requesting a plus or minus 5-foot variance for the projection of an open front porch beyond the veranda line along Sedgwick Road, R10 zone. At this hearing, interested persons may be heard or submit written comment as outlined below. The full application is available for public review by visiting the town's website and following this navigation path. Government tab, Boards and Commissions, Zoning Board of Appeals. Next meeting and agenda at www.westhartford.gov or by email request to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov. The public hearing will be broadcast live on television on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 96 and Frontier TV Channel 6099 and streamed live at whctv.org. Any interested persons may participate by calling real-time at 1-408-418-9300 and using the following access code, 173-951-6050 at 6 o'clock p.m. Participants using caller ID blocking will not be permitted to participate. Participants will be called on in the order in which their call was received. When prompted by the chair and/or moderator, participants will have the permission to speak on matters germane to the hearing. Any interested persons may submit a written comment via email to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov or mail at attention Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning and Zoning Office, Room 214, Town Hall, 50 South Main Street, West Hartford, Connecticut 06107. Written comments will be made part of the record on at the May 19th public hearing and posted at the town's website. In order to be included as part of the record, comments must meet the following requirements. Comments must be received no later than 3:30 p.m. on May 19th. The subject of the email shall be application number and address, ZBA May 19th public hearing. The body of the email must begin with the interested person's full name and street address. Comments must be germane to the application and no longer than 500 words. Posted on 5/5/2021.
Thank you, Ms. Birmingham. And you're able to confirm the sign posting?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, the signs have been posted at the property.
Thank you. The public was provided opportunity to submit written comments on the application via email and mail. These comments have been published on the town's website as a .pdf file and are embedded in this online agenda. For the record, the zoning enforcement officer will now read the name of any who have submitted written comments. Ms. Birmingham.
We have received no comments for this application.
Thank you. And following testimony of the applicant, the public who may have called into the meeting will have a chance to comment about the current application. Upon conclusion of the applicant's response to these comments, and if there are no further questions from the board, the public hearing will be closed. It is the practice of the board to render a decision on an application the same night, following all items on the public meeting agenda. Again, I'd like to conclude by thanking everyone in advance for their patience. And with that, Mr. and Mrs. Slapp, would you please proceed with your presentation?
Great. Well, thank you and good evening, Chairman Doyle, and to the rest of the members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. I wanted to just start by thanking you for your time and for your public service. I know you're all volunteers, and so I'm grateful for your service to the town. My name is Derek Slapp, S-L-A-P, and I'm the co-homeowner along with my wife. Let me say hello.
Hi, I'm Alex Slapp, co-owner.
Great. And so we are applying, as you know, the materials, as the materials indicate, for a 5-foot variance to build a front porch in front of the house. And I think we are on a corner lot, so we don't have a backyard. We have 2 side yards, and one side of it, as the application indicates, the one that's not along the Sedgwick side, is kind of unbuildable because there's the garage that separates our living space from the yard, and then the other side is has a very extensive setback from Sedgwick Road. Before we moved here, and we moved here in 2009, years before that, there was a variance, and I'm not, well, I think it's on the application, but it was granted, again, to previous homeowners to go into the setback by a few feet. Maybe, I think it was about 5 feet, if I'm not mistaken, on the Sedgwick side. We don't want to go any farther into that setback. We just want to, as we're doing building a front porch, which is, I believe it's section 177-2B. I'm not a lawyer, so forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, but allows for a 10-foot essentially veranda line. We just want to be able to do that in front of, it would be facing Fairlee Road. A front porch, in front of the house that's aligned with the addition, that preceded our arrival there. And looking at the zoning code, it looks like, that it suggests that a variance would be granted if it allowed for kind of a reasonable use of the property. So that's our request of you all. I wanted to stress that we've had a great discussion with the town and with Ms. Birmingham and her predecessor as well about how we could request the minimum variance needed. We had originally, before I knew about the extensive setback, wanted to build a 3-season porch that would go, in addition to our existing addition, further into the setback on the Sedgwick side. We're not doing that. We're not requesting that. We had considered a wraparound porch, again, further into Sedgwick, and we abandoned that idea as well and settled on something where, we think really is the minimum variance, and that's kind of in keeping with the instructions, that we see on the town website and in the wishes of, trying to request the minimum, needed to accomplish the project. So, and that's just really that 5 feet. And then just the last thing I would touch on, and then if Alex wanted to jump in, with your indulgence, is that I do think looking at the zoning ordinances and kind of what they're trying to emphasize and support, that this is very much in keeping with the goal of integrated communities, of a sense of community, I see unique and interesting streetscapes. And I think that, having a front porch just adds to the vitality of the community, and, the support of our neighbors, I think reinforces that, the conversations that we've had. And I have submitted a few letters of support with the application from our direct neighbors. And I know one of our neighbors too was planning on building a porch as well. So I think what's going on in Fairlee Road is really great, and this would just kind of add to it. And again, we're trying to really be respectful of applying for the minimum needed to accomplish the project. So Alice, anything you want to?
Derek said all of what I could imagine. I'll reiterate that the community here, it's all about dog walkers and people pushing their strollers and impromptu conversations. So if we're able to be sitting out on that front porch and just adding to that community vibe, I think it's just a great use of space. Also, I think it would just look better because we would have to stop the porch 5 feet short, and then so aesthetically, I just think it'll actually be more pleasing to passersby. And that's, yeah, I just want to thank everyone for being here. I know it's like 6 o'clock plus on a night evening, so just thank you all for your work, and thanks for considering.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would add is that one of our neighbors actually, who did submit a letter of support, said that when I was talking about it, he said, "Oh, that'll add to the property values." Like, so, I mean, and I know that's one of the things that's, there's a question about in the application as well. So I think that he's right, and I think that it will. So I guess we could leave it there and see if there's any questions, Mr. Chair, but thanks again for your time.
So thank you both. I do have 2 questions for you on the outset. So just so I understand, the current setback from Sedgwick is 35 feet. Is that correct?
No, I believe it's, I can find it, and Ms. Birmingham might know.
Yeah, so the current setback from Sedgwick Road is actually 65 feet.
Right.
Yep.
65 feet.
65.
Okay.
It's Fairlee Road that has the 35-foot building line.
Oh, Fairlee. I thought, okay, so the porch is going to be on Fairlee Road.
It's going to be on Fairlee Road, but it's going to encroach into the setback of the building line of Sedgwick.
I understand. Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That. Okay. And then,
and I think there was still, oh, go ahead, Chairman Doyle.
No, I understand. So I'm just thinking about this, and you've presumably had a builder or an architect come and say, 8 feet is 8 feet's kind of where you want to be. That's ideal for porch depth, or is that less?
That's right. That's what he thought. Yes, Mr. Chair. He thought that that was appropriate, and I submitted those designs to you.
Okay.
Right. And so
All right.
we wouldn't be extending any further than the addition already exists. And so
Okay.
and we're I think still at least 50 feet. There's still that setback that exists. So it's very sizable setback from Sedgwick.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Ms. Birmingham, a question for you. If somebody builds an open porch and they have a variance for an open porch without any special stipulation in the approval, if this board were to approve it, are they free then to enclose the porch? 20 years from now, somebody else moves in, can they enclose the porch and put a heater in there and make it a
Right.
full-on addition?
So the variance that we would have on file, if approved, would be for an open porch. So they would not be able to enclose it and make it not an open porch.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Good. All right. Any questions from other members of the board?
The only
Mike,
thing
Bob?
that I was, I assume we've confirmed that is the variance was granted. It was for the same. I'm looking at the site plan with the volume requested. I think area of variance requested, and so that's all confirmed and filed, and that variance exists.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Bob, any questions for the applicant?
I do not.
Mr. Harris?
Just to confirm, Mr. Chairman, as I'm looking at the drawing, the request then is for a variance along Fairlee Road and a variance of, it's sort of like a double variance of both Fairlee and Sedgwick. Is that right?
No, so the variance is only for along Sedgwick Road. Because you're allowed to have an open porch 10 feet forward of the building line, the one on Fairlee Road, it would be in compliant along Fairlee Road. It just goes beyond the veranda line on the Sedgwick side. So the variance is only for that portion.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we have everything we need. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming before the board.
Thank you very much.
And Ms. Birmingham, are you ready to proceed with the next legal notice?
Yes. Bring it up. Petition number 0721, 58 Montclair Drive. Petition of PNC Calcaterra, record owners requesting a variance to section 177-20D, obstructions in yards, requesting a plus or minus 4-foot variance to the building along Montclair Drive for the construction of an addition, R6 zone. At this hearing, interested persons may be heard or submit written communication as outlined below. The full application is available for public review by visiting the town's website and following the navigation path, or by email request to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov. The public hearing will be broadcast live on television on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 96 and Frontier TV Channel 6099 and streamed live at whctv.org. Any interested persons may participate in real time by calling 1-408-418-9388 and using the following access code 173-951-6050 at 6 p.m. Participants using caller ID blocking will not be permitted to participate. Participants will be called on in the order in which their call was received. When prompted by the chair and/or moderator, participants will have the permission to speak on matters germane to the hearing. Any interested persons may submit a written comment via email to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov or via mail, attention Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning and Zoning Office, room 214, 50 South Main Street, Town Hall, West Hartford, Connecticut, 06107. Written comments will be made part of the record at the May 19th, 2021 public hearing and posted on the town's website. In order to be included as part of the record, comments must meet the following requirements. Comments must be received no later than 3:30 p.m. on May 19th. The subject of the email shall be application number and address, ZBA, May 19th public hearing. The body of the email must begin with the interested person's full name and street address. Comments must be germane to the application and no longer than 500 words. Posted on 5/5/2021. And signs have been posted at the property.
Thank you, Brittany. So the public was provided an opportunity to submit written comments on the application via mail and email. These comments have been published on the town's website as a .pdf file and are embedded in the online agenda. For the record, the zoning enforcement officer will now read the names of all those who submitted written comments.
We have no submitted written comments.
Okay, thank you. Members of the public are welcome to continue sending comments to comment.tpz@westhartfordct.gov, and those comments will be distributed to members of the board and also read into the record. Following the testimony of the applicant, the public who may have called into the meeting will have a chance to comment about the current application. Upon conclusion of the applicant's response to any comments, and if there are no further questions from the board, the public hearing will be closed. It is the practice of the board to render a decision on an application the same night following all items on the public meeting agenda. I'd like to conclude by thanking everyone in advance for their patience. With that, I'd like to ask the applicant to please proceed with their presentation.
Good evening. I'm Colleen Calcaterra, Calcaterra.
And Peter Calcaterra, same spelling, last name. We also have our contractor with us on the line, James Light. Jim, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jim Light. I'm the owner of First Light Builders, and I'm here for support and to be able to answer any questions that you have from a building perspective.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair and board members, for your time this evening. We're here to talk about a project that we have going on our property. We're trying to build a proposed structure on the south end of our house. There's an existing 8x14 structure now. It's an enclosed porch. We're looking to increase the size of that structure to a 14x16 space. Normally we would be able to go out and do that without a problem, without a variance. But the building line along Montclair, we have a corner lot, so we have two front yard building lines, one on Lynbrook Road and the other one on Montclair Drive. The building line along Montclair Drive moves from 25 feet, which is where our house sits. All the existing structures sit now. The building line is 25 feet to our property line. But once you get to just past the edge of our existing building footprint, it drops back to 35 feet into the large open space of our yard, where we currently have 70 feet from where the current structure ends to our property line, about 40 feet where our current property ends to the rear yard setback. We're in an R6 zone, so we have a 30-foot rear yard setback. We're proposing to only build a little bit into that. This would involve a plus or minus 4-foot variance. And if you have the plans submitted, it illustrates what the impact is. The proposed structure, not the entire thing, would be subject to the variance. It's really only a sliver of it. It's about 13% of the proposed structure that's subject to this variance, given where the building line along Montclair moves from 25 feet back to 35 feet. So the hardship that we're outlining is merely the change in building line from 25 to 35, preventing us from being able to build a proposed structure like many others in our neighborhood have. And it limits us in our ability to do so. We have support from our neighborhood. A lot of our surrounding neighbors fully support this. The size of the room that we're looking to build, again, is proposed based on the space that would be needed to fulfill that size room. It's in line with the existing structure or existing foundation of the house as well. There's currently a 42-inch frost wall below the existing enclosed porch, so we're staying within that structure. And the amount of variance that we're applying for is the least amount of variance that we could apply for to again also fulfill the needs of the room, needs of the space. So it's a 4-foot variance along the Montclair side of our property. if there's anything else you want to.
Well, just going along with what Pete said, our neighbors are in favor of this, two of which who submitted letters of support. Both of our abutting neighbors who submitted those letters have been here for at least 15 plus years. They both raised their families here. And we have been here a little under 2 years, so we're on the newer side. But when we told each of these families our plans, they shared their excitement and were excited for, what this could bring to the neighborhood. So.
Yeah, the proposed structure would certainly add value to the neighborhood and to the community itself. And to further add, because we're on a corner lot, we're really restricted on where we can build. The northerly end of our property is on the building line on Limbrook. The westerly side of our property is on the building line, the 25-foot building line along Montclair. The easterly end of our building line, there's not adequate space to build there. It's the only private area of our yard because we are on a corner lot, and putting any structure there would also potentially disrupt our neighbor's property and our property in terms of runoff and drainage, and we have utilities back there now too, so it's not really a buildable area. The most logical space really is the 40-foot of potentially buildable area on the southerly end of our property, upon which we're only going out 8 feet into the rear yard. 4 of which along Montclair would be subject to a variance. Again, only 13% of the proposed structure.
So, Mr. Calcaterra, this is Todd Doyle. Quick question for you. If I understand you correctly, your house, the front of your house is 25 feet from Montclair Drive. And I'm just going to try and repeat what I think I understood from your application. That is the setback on Montclair Drive for building up until the point where your house currently ends. And then for some reason, and maybe further all the way down on Montclair, the setback goes from 25 feet to 35 feet. But you guys, I guess because it was grandfathered or what have you, you have all of your house is 25 feet, and the 25 feet zone ends at the current end of your house. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct. Yeah, the current footprint of the house is set back at 25 feet. In fact, the building line actually changes on Montclair about a dozen times, up and from beginning to end on Montclair. It just so happens one of those times it changes is in the middle of our property, not at the end of the property or edge of the property, right in the middle. So despite the fact that we do have 40 feet of linear feet of buildable land, if that variance didn't set back to 35 feet or at the edge of the property, we wouldn't be here tonight. We would be able to go ahead and build the structure, but because it moves, that's the need for the variance.
Okay, and just to kind of hammer home this point, if you were, let's say you didn't come to a variance, you guys were variance averse, you just want to build in kind of the way that to respect the setbacks as they exist, your addition would be kind of cockeyed, right? It could come out to where the deck is, then there would be this big 4-foot indent, and then you could go to the natural where you want, but there would be this carve out, and that carve out would be the 4-foot variance that we're applying for, right? Yeah, okay. All right, I understand.
Yep.
Okay,
and
thank you for
that. The 35-foot setback too, our neighbors to the south, they also have a 25-foot setback. So it's really just the yard. The yard is set back 35 feet. There's no, so not sure why that is the way it is. But you're 100% correct. It's an odd carve out at the corner of what we're trying to do.
Okay. All right. I think I understand. Any questions or comments from other members of the board? No. This is kind of this is like textbook, I think, and not to get into deliberations, but I think this is textbook. You have a hardship on your property. It's just really bizarre. And I've never seen anything like this. It's really unique. Okay. All right. So I think I understand the issue. I thank you for coming. And Mr. White, I thank you for coming as well. I don't have any further questions. You did a good job with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So at this point, the public portion of the meeting is now closed. And I'd like to move on to the deliberation section. And let me just make sure I have my numbers correct. I apologize for the background noise. I have somebody working on my property here. We did get a permit. Thank you. All right. Can I get a motion to approve application number 05-21?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. And second?
Approved.
Second from Mr. LaChance. Okay. This one is, I think this one's easy and non-controversial. This person's been here for, I mean, it sounds like this person's been here for a while. No change to the business, no change to the hours of operations, no complaints about the business. There's a small sign. I'm inclined to approve it unless anybody has other thoughts.
I just had a question. Brittany, aren't there fluctuating durations? Doesn't it kind of doesn't it stagger longer periods each time? Is this, I didn't see what this is for, how many years?
So this is going to be for a 5-year. So back in 2012, it was renewed for 5 years and expired in 2017. That's when he went back and mentioned he was working at a business. So we're going to just resume the 5-year look back.
Okay. All right. That seems appropriate.
Yeah, and I think the 5-year kind of clues you into the length that the business has been there in total, because the first approval is 1 year, then it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's 3, Brittany, and then 5?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, okay. Well, sensing we're ready to vote, Ms. Birmingham, could we please have a roll call vote?
Michael D'Amato,
Yes.
Todd Doyle,
Yes.
John Harris,
Yes.
and Bob LaChance. That passes 4-0.
Okay. All right, thank you. And motion, please, to approve application number 06-21.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. And can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, it's funny. This application talks about the hardship, and it's important, I think, to talk about the hardship. But there's also, and it's addressed in the application, just the general approval within the zoning ordinance in favor of open porches and open space of precisely this type. So I think there's a strong bias in the town to encourage this type of development more so than fences, for example. I'm a big fan of porches. I think for exactly the reasons the applicant stated, it encourages community, et cetera, et cetera. It's a relatively small variance that they're requesting. I'm fully in favor of this application.
I agree. My 2 cents, this is the mirroring a variance that was previously issued. And so I think that demonstrates that the board at that time already went through this process and felt that it was appropriate. And, you know, we've had this conversation before on a lot that's as small as this, to have a 65-foot setback is just extremely restrictive. So I don't have any concerns with this.
Any other comments? Bob? John?
No.
Okay. All right. Sensing we're ready to vote, Ms. Birmingham, could we please get a roll call vote?
Michael D'Amato,
Yes.
Todd Doyle,
Yes.
John Harris,
Yes.
Bob LaChance.
Yes.
That passes
All
4-0.
All right. Thank you. And Brittany, while we have Mr. Slap here, does he not need a variance to get those huge, like 30-foot signs with his picture on them at election time? Is that in compliance with our zoning rules?
Free speech.
Okay, we'll leave that one. All right. Thank you, Mr. Slap. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right. And for the next application, number 7-21, 58 Montclair Drive, can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Second with Mr. Harris. All right. Thank you. This one's funky, right? The only place that you have a 35-foot setback is in their backyard. I think this is just a nuisance to the homeowner, And I support this application. Okay. Anyone else? Other comments? Sounds like everybody's in agreement. All right. Ms. Birmingham, sensing we're ready to vote, could you please call a roll call vote?
Michael D'Amato,
Yes.
Todd Doyle,
Yes.
John Harris,
Yes.
and Bob LaChance.
Yes.
That passes 4-0.
Thank you. And thank you for coming before the board. We appreciate it, Mrs. Calcaterra. And Brittany, for minutes, do we have a quorum to approve minutes?
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I personally would like to move to approve the minutes if we can get a second.
Second.
Okay. Any comments, any discussion? All right. Sensing we're ready to vote, Ms. Birmingham.
Michael D'Amato,
Yes.
Todd Doyle,
Yes.
John Harris,
Yes.
and Bob LaChance.
Yes.
That passes 4.
Terrific. Let's see. So Ms. Birmingham, just a procedural question there. I see voting in favor was D'Amato, Doyle, DiMatteo, LaChance. Do we need the people who voted on the application to approve the minutes, or just the people who were in attendance?
Well, we only needed 4 votes, and everyone is here who was at that meeting. So it looked.
Okay, so even though they didn't vote at the meeting, as long as they were here, they can approve the minutes.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All right, got a bunch of seconds. All right. Sensing
Mike-
we're ready to vote?
Michael D'Amato,
Yes.
Todd Doyle,
Yes.
John Harris,
Yes.
and Bob LaChance.
Yes.
Thank
A
you very
remarkably
much.
efficient meeting. Thank you,
Yes.
Ms. Birmingham. Thank
You
you.
all.
Thank you, fellow commissioners.
Take
Okay.
care. Thanks, Brittany.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, have a
Thank you.
good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night.